Hi there and welcome to Unscripted from the beautiful presidential suite at Radisson Blu in Arboretum. We're having a very important conversation. That's why we're in this beautiful setup. Today we're talking about marriage with a lovely couple who have been together for 10 plus years. So they have experience and wisdom to share with us today. So stay right there and let the show begin. Welcome to Unscripted.
We are the Bobs, and we want to let you know that marriage works, because marriage is an institution that is meant to work, and of course purposefully to be intentional about it. And of course, to be purposefully intentional about it, we need to understand why marriage. And so for us here, marriage is actually meant to mutually complete one another. We know that as we get into this, it will definitely be a place for you to move with God and find a place to thrive in your life.
Hi there, welcome to Unscripted. As always, thank you for joining us and making time for us. So with me, I have two special guests. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm having a conversation that we're about to have a conversation that I'm excited about. But before I continue, let me allow you to introduce yourselves. You can go ahead. You can tell them who you are, I guess why you're here today, and what you'd like the people at home to know about you.
Right.
Ladies first or men just before? How does it go?
Let ladies go first.
Ladies first. Go ahead.
My name is Dorothy
Yeah.
Manje.
Great.
We've been married for 13 years,
Nice.
almost getting to our 14th year.
Congratulations.
And marriage works.
It does.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Just as my wife has said, my name is Fred Abok. We are marriage counselors with pastors,
Okay.
and of course we are transformational speakers.
Nice.
Currently serving at Regis Baptist Church,
Okay.
but of course missionaries with Life Ministry Kenya.
So you've been married 13 years. How many children and where did you meet? And then you knew you're the one. This is the one for me.
God has blessed us with one daughter
Okay. Good.
who is 11 years,
Okay.
almost getting to 12 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we met in a church setup, wedding. Sort
Really?
of, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a whole practical 13 years, of course, of just getting to know one another, ever discovering one another.
It never ends, right?
It never
Yeah.
ends.
That's
When
a
you
good
think
point.
you know, then that's the time that actually you find something and do, oh, okay,
Another
I
layer.
didn't know this. But of course, it's been wonderful because for us, marriage has just been a platform to mutually complete one another.
Okay.
In that the things that are deficited in me are actually plenty in her.
Got it.
But of course, it's a place that I mirror and see the element of love coming true. That is it a sacrifice? Is it a place of giving on to one another and just allowing it to flow? But of course, it's also a place of intentionality,
That's true.
whereby we are actually mutually completing one another.
Okay.
It's a place that you have actually discovered that our selfish egos cannot be able to find a place.
Right.
It has to be.
Ego is always a problem, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Before we get into ego, how, because people always, want to know, how do you know this is the one? How do you know you've met the one for you? How do you answer that question? How did you know she was the one for you?
Oh, great. I was just getting myself into mission work.
Okay.
I don't think I had landed on right particular time, but I was a volunteer.
Okay.
And of course, I was looking for someone who could be able to walk with me this journey. Mine was basically a journey of faith.
Okay.
And so looking around, socializing. And of course, when we met and we started conversing, getting into youth meetings, involving her in my programs, then I narrowed down into specialize with her and just get on to, discover as she compliments me and, work alongside me, and we're synchronizing in different elements. I said, this could be the person for me.
This could work.
Yes.
Did you feel the same?
Yeah.
In the same way? Because I can tell, so for you it was about a purpose partner.
Oh, sure.
There was, you know, you had a plan for your life and you saw she fitted well to...
That exactly.
Yeah. Was it the same for you?
Yeah, but for me it was slightly different.
Tell us.
Of course, there is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I wanted someone that I can reason together with. And of course, somebody that we can make a home together.
True.
And I saw that coming out from him.
Okay.
And so I was sure this is it.
This is it? You were convinced?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even with, I guess, that assurity of, you know, I think I found the one, then there's the marriage itself. Now you're in the same home together. Whatever come what may, you need to figure it out. Take us through what the challenging times have been like.
Right. It's one thing for us to be in sync with one another, but it's another thing to also bring alongside the family. We are from different tribes, and you know that the tribal issues is so much inevitable in our country.
That's true, unfortunately.
And of course, now got to bring my parents in, and you know, just convince them that, you know what, hey, this is the person
For me.
for me. Like, okay, so you didn't find anyone around here, you know, and, you know, your mom is always very eager, looking for someone for you.
Wow.
And of course, yes, definitely she had on our plan.
Yeah.
And of course, our plans are to be cut off because I found someone.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of effort to convince them. Then again, now comes on the cultural dynamics. My village had to go cook in their village, and that's a myth that they could not get to understand.
Really?
No, it took a lot of prayer and convincing to be able to bring that to board.
It was that difficult?
Oh yeah, it's never happened, and of course they completely didn't know about it. So they had to make a lot of inquiry. Yeah, it's a culture shock, and so and then comes on that they just took me to a mission training at that particular time, and of course resources are needed.
Got it.
And we wanted to have a wedding. We just didn't want to, you know, come together and just begin to live together. And so there was a budget dynamics with it. And of course, yes, so this involved resources. Yeah. Where are the resources? And so you got to get onto people. And of course, the first people that you want to lay on are your family. Yeah. So they're asking you, what do you have? So I have nothing. So if you have nothing, why are you telling us to, you know, you want to do this?
Indeed.
You know, so
actually, that brings me to the next question.
Yeah.
They asked you, if you have nothing, why are you doing this?
Oh, sure.
So is that something someone should hold until they're ready to do it? Or what would you say to those at home?
Definitely. What I want to demystify is that marriage is not about wedding. Marriage is more than a wedding.
True.
And of course, wedding doesn't have to be as expensive as your friend's wedding. You can only do what you can afford.
That's very true.
And so with some wedding, on my experience as a pastor, it sometimes can cost nothing. But of course, this is a time of celebration. Yeah. And of course, when you're celebrating, there'll definitely be like-minded and the society who will come alongside you. And so it's not something to be feared, but also it's not something that you should put what you don't have. Deal with what you have. No one will ask you, how was your wedding? People will ask you, how is your marriage?
Indeed.
Yes.
Remember that. I hope you're tweeting that. For you, what was your concern, or where have you found it was a bit challenging? It could have been in the onset of the marriage or later. Where have you found it's been difficult?
One thing I'll tell you is that, you know, we took our time to learn each other. Good. And, you know, we took like 5 years in our courtship. Yeah. And so it gave us a platform to get to know each other. Yeah, that's good. And, you know, because marriage is a lifetime project and it's a lifetime commitment. Yeah. So it was necessary for us to know and be sure whether we are ready for this marriage, because it's for better, for worse. And so, because we took our time and we knew, the struggles that we had, even as young people. And so through that, we were sure we can be able to stand and hang on together, until, the time that God will allow us to be together. And so, yes, we had struggles as we were walking through this journey, and especially what Fred has said about our culture. And of course, because there is what we believe. From my culture, there is what we believe. From his culture, there is what they believe. Yeah. And so bringing that together as a family, is something that needs a lot of patience, because that can even bring family issues. Because as a person, I would probably think maybe his people don't like me.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But that can affect your relationship.
Yes, and could affect. But I didn't look at it, in that perspective. And so I can say, as you walk through the journey, you need time to know your partner. Okay. And you need to have people around you, and more so prayer. And one of the things that truly you will know this is the man for you is because when God is in your marriage, everything will fall in place. And so we were sure we were meant for each other, because through the journey,
God was there.
God made a way for us.
Like you mentioned, the main issue was the cultures coming together. During that period, just for those at home to take away and myself, what did you learn about each other? And how did it strengthen your relationship? Or affect your relationship?
All right, I think our diverse in culture is indeed our beauty, depending on how you look at it.
I like that.
Because it's found that the culture are very intentional in, functions and of course celebration. Yeah. Our cultures are a bit different. We're a bit private. We like going big in what we do, and so synchronizing this culture just help on us to learn, but also to be able to improve in diversity and bring out the best out of it. That element of even going to cook at their place brought on just that synchronize and that synergy, that there has been friendship that has been built over time, even onto that. Then comes on the dowry dynamics that where, so we come from far much distance, and what we give is not necessarily what they are. And so, that helps on, and so if anyone comes on board and said, yes, it works, it did work for my son, it worked for my daughter, and so you keep on bringing on along friendships that comes on.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now this is a big one.
Yeah.
Next question. How have you dealt with conflict in your relationship? Because it happens, marriage, with your children, with your siblings and parents. So even two people from different worlds, you mentioned different cultures, coming together in one home. Yeah. How have you both dealt with conflict? You can give us a few tips.
I think conflicts are inevitable. Indeed. And for us, we are not exceptional. That we've had conflicts in our marriage. And I think, Grace, let me start by the element of living and cleaving.
Got it.
Yeah, because being a last-born in our family, a lot of expectation from me. And of course, my mom expected me to have this wife who's going to be in the village together with her, and being close with her, and they converse a lot.
Really?
And now you pick someone you're in the city with, and you travel on, and that's one of it, And so there's a lot of expectation.
Okay.
She wants to, of course, elements of resources. So what you did on the onset is to put it very clear
Good.
The resources that are going to my parents, she'll be one to deal with them.
Oh,
Resources
very
going to their
smart.
parents, I'll be the one to deal with them. So that it builds up
A relationship.
a relationship, but also get to understand that before we give on those resources, we have to consult.
That's true.
We have to be in sync on that.
That's true.
So that's-
You're no longer one, but two of you become one.
Yeah, became one. But of course, also the other element of conflict is, just how to be able to treat on the relative. Because of course, being that she's more or less the firstborn, secondborn.
Secondborn, yeah.
The home, there's a lot of expectation she had to, bring along the rest. And so we said, you know what, we're going to help. But how are we going to help? Because also we need our space.
True.
We need our time to get to know one another and be, but of course also because we were helped. So we cannot just bury our heads in the sand and say, you know what, you guys stay far. Yeah. So we did agree how we're going to live together with them and to what period and how are we going to be able to be of help with others. So some we brought them on along with us, but some were able to help them from where they are. We, their cousins, their younger sister, and all this. But of course now the big one is of course my girlfriends.
Tell me more.
This deep, this deep, just letting go.
Okay.
You may have actually crossed it or you've let it go.
You
But
mean
of course,
past girlfriends?
yes.
What do you mean? Okay.
The past girlfriends.
Okay.
And they become more visible when you're in marriage than when you're not.
Oh my, that happens.
And of course, now the technology today. So you're caught up on an SMS, caught up on a WhatsApp, caught up on this. But of course, as we get on with this, it's something that is, of course, very painful to the ladies.
So what's the issue? They were communicating.
Communicating.
Yes.
And just trying to keep boundaries. And for us men, I may be talking here, I'm talking to some men out there. We try to keep it secret, try to delete the conversation. But of course, I don't know how God uses ladies. They catch you one of
Intuition is big, isn't it? Tunajua tu.
Yes, so it just comes out that like, oh, all right, you're still in this?
How was it for you dealing with that? Knowing the people from his past were reaching out to him and now you're here. How did you deal with that?
I'll tell you.
It's very uncomfortable for us.
When you get married, and for the sake of our viewers, and probably someone struggling in that area, it is important if you know there are some red flags somewhere, bring them out. Good. Because as women, when we get to land into such, it becomes, a huge problem at home. Yeah. And so if you know there's an area that you're struggling in, just bring it out. Let your partner know. Yeah. So that you can walk in this journey together. You can support your partner in this journey because sometimes probably nothing much is happening, but it's just that this person can't really leave you alone. They don't want to, be at that point, knowing and understanding now you are a married man, you've set your own boundaries, and you're protecting your own family. Yeah. And for me, I didn't go to the roof because of that.
You kept your cool.
Yes, and I had to bring him on the table.
Have a conversation.
Yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk. And when you have conflicts in marriage, the best way to go through this is to talk.
That's true.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Your fears,
talk
concerns,
about it.
Talk about
yes,
it.
Talk about it.
But of course, also admitting, verbally admitting that yes, because it's one thing to feel the sting, but it's another thing to verbalize it. And verbalize in an environment of grace, not an environment of an accusation. Yeah. Because when it's accusation, we build defense.
That's true.
And of course now we try to, throw break the glasses over
It gets
there.
ugly, yeah.
But of course, once communication become inevitable, and we say, oh, come on, where did the rain start beating us?
Okay.
Because something must have started from somewhere. There's a miss somewhere. And of course, being in an environment that I am not going to be victimized based on what I've said, I felt comfortable to say, you know what, okay, this is how it started.
Yeah.
This is the reason why this happened.
In a safe space.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was, I understand. But of course, also, at that particular time, it became necessary to find an accountability partner to work with.
Thank you.
And just to be vulnerable to. I say, you know what, I'm watching you. And someone can actually just make up a call and random and say, hey, how are you doing about the thing that the issue that we shared on?
You did that?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. Because I was going to ask actually, because I love how you've shared for women at home watching, because conflict will happen.
Yeah.
And it's almost natural to, get upset. But you said you kept your cool. And that's a good lesson to share with us. So I'm actually going to ask you, for you, what did you do to, because you're two people, and you have to be open to change or improve. So I guess for you sought out accountability partner.
Sure.
And you remained open.
Yes.
Your wife could see everything.
Yes.
I see.
Okay. Yeah, that was a great step of development.
And of course, that helped him to transition now fully,
Okay.
to, the family commitment and
Got it.
marriage commitment. And through that, then he was able to overcome.
Before we go on a break,
Yes.
what has been the best thing about your marriage so far?
Too many, of course.
There are too many, but what stands out is that we are friends.
Oh, good. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, we are great friends.
That's important.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. And for you?
But of course, the opportunity just to pour on to others, and just be able to help others. Great. I think by now, around 50 couples have passed through our hands.
Wow.
Yeah, who just, be discovering themselves. These are issues that we deal with on a daily basis.
Okay.
People make calls. We're just inquiring about this. And some open so deeply that, we get sometimes surprised. But of course, just building on that confidence, because we know that they know that we are a unit. And when they open up to us, we can be able to be of help.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another highlight is that even as we go through, with young people that are preparing to get married, and because at some point we get couples that are struggling because of one thing or the other in their marriage, walking through with them, we are reminded, of the things that we need to take care of, even as we walk through this journey of marriage, and taking care of each other, so that, if a certain marriage is going through this, we get that opportunity of also checking our marriage and checking
it's
where
like
we
a wake-up
are.
call.
Yeah, like a wake-up call. And so that has kept us, strong and glued our, our relationship and love together.
Through helping others, it has helped both.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
I like that. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. On this part, we can start with you, my dear. What's your definition of a good husband?
A good husband is that person who understands his role in a family.
Okay.
Yeah, as the head of the family. Yeah.
And for you, what does it mean to be a good wife? And has it changed over the years? Yes, what is it fundamentally?
All right. I think mine is prudence. Prudence is the understanding that when she understands her role, that her is to support, to be a helper. And the helper is always strong than the person being helped.
Yeah.
In that need to be strong emotionally, psychologically.
True.
But of course, they may not be strong physically. But of course, the fact that they can actually be able to bring an idea that can be able to spice up the physique to the ultimate goal is so inevitable. And of course, over the time, in the work that I do, my wife has actually been that role. She has been that prudent woman. She has been so vital support to me in the things that I do. People celebrate me out there.
Yeah.
What they don't understand is that a lot has gone on
In
to
the
what my background, what my wife does.
If I could, what are the role within a marriage? What then becomes a role of your friends, extended family, community? Because we hear sometimes maybe they can speak into the marriage and it affects the marriage. So how do you define the roles therein after marriage?
And that's bringing me to the point of the cleaving and living and cleaving. You know, so the Bible says that for a man shall leave his family and cleave to his wife and they become one.
Yeah.
Living must be done in a respectful manner, in honor and dignity. In that on that aspect, it is important to understand where will be the position of your parents, of the community, and of your siblings.
Okay.
All right? And that's why we identified that way back from the onset.
Good.
That we have to support our parents, we have to support our siblings, and we also support community.
Okay.
No one speaks into my family more than I do.
Good.
I am the prince of my house. I am the prophet, and I am the priest of my house.
Yeah.
So before the pastor out there prophesy over my family, I prophesy. I pray for them.
Amen.
I shepherd them.
Okay.
I define what is watched on the TV.
Okay.
You know, I put structures on things the way they go.
Okay.
Because they say that train a child of the way they should grow. And when they grow up, they will not depart from it.
Right.
So I put on values in my family way ahead. That
Before
it is,
the world or
before the
anyone else
world
does.
actually disrupted. So in that, it finds that anyone who wants to come in and bring on an advice, get in within the structure of what we have put.
Fantastic.
And of course, we have actually made it on well.
Great.
In that you want to make up a consultation to my wife, it is prudent to pass through me.
Okay.
And especially my family. They pass through me to
They
her.
pass through you.
Just the way her family passed through her to me. Because she's the one who knows me.
Yeah.
She's the gateway to my relationship with them.
True.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you for those tips. And there are seasons in life where we don't feel loving, or we don't feel, you're just like, leo amenichokesha. You know, like I just want to be in my corner.
Yeah.
In those times, when you go through that period, how do you still, is it honor each other or love each other, or keep the fire burning, even if you don't feel it? So I guess that's the answer, or the question there is it about really the feeling? How do you tell a young couple that, or couples who don't see, how are you together with one person for so long? Because there are seasons where you just feel, how do you manage that period?
Feeling is a caboose of the train. It doesn't dictate the mobility of the train.
Oh, wow.
So as much as it's important,
Yeah.
but you need to set it in its place.
Okay.
The priority is the wellness of the marriage. I may feel like I've woken up in the morning and I don't want to talk. That is me. Every other person in the house want to talk. So if I jump on me, I don't have to scream out.
Okay.
I just got to respond because my feelings are for me.
Got it.
They're not for the whole entire family.
Because that happens even with children, like that's
Yeah,
your feeling. It's
because,
not their problem or their issue.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like putting a cart before the horse and expecting all this thing to move.
Okay.
The people who glorify feeling as if feelings is the whole entire of who they are.
That's nice.
Because if we begin to drive our marriage based on the feelings, then I feel like I love you today. I feel I don't love you tomorrow.
Exactly.
And I feel like I love someone else. Then we got to with the feelings.
Powerful.
So it is important to understand their place. And bring it back, the fundamental. Marriage must work. And we have to be intentional about it.
Is there any such thing as boundaries within marriage as a couple?
Very much.
Yeah?
There is
Tell
boundaries.
us, please.
There is boundaries. Because we are one as a family, but we associate with the community out there. All right? And so we who are doing counseling, from the onset, we made a decision that if I cannot just handle a woman by myself. I have to bring her on board. Because, counseling involves emotions. It involves psychological. It involves, social aspect. And so when this person pours out onto you, it is important to bring alongside so that both of us are safe, but also the person also you're doing counseling are safe.
Safe is the word.
Yeah. So getting on that, it's prudent to understand that we are doing this as a family.
Yeah.
We are not the specialists. And I'll admit, whenever I speak to different TV stations, and I see phone calls and someone that said, you know what, would you like me to bring my wife along? Or I just tell you that, on this, I will bring her along.
Got it.
Yeah, so that, what you're giving on could be of essence.
And the reason as to why we need to set boundaries in marriage is to safeguard, our family, our unity together as a couple. And of course, that even as anyone comes, there is that respect for both of us. True. And also to guard our hearts. And that's why, like Fred is saying, if somebody approaches you, for whatever reason, they have struggles, they have challenges, it is always important to say, I hear you, thank you for considering to come and seek advice from us or to seek some help from us. But if you don't mind, would you allow me to speak to my wife about this? Okay. Can you give me some time so that even as that person, for whatever reason, if they are looking for help or anything, they know there is nothing that you do without, consulting your husband, because when you get married, you become one.
That's true.
Yeah, and it is important even for your partner to know whatever you do, you bring it out. There is transparency.
So if you were to give us one piece, you can each give, piece of advice for successful marriage, what would it be?
I think before that, allow me to run on the importance of premarital counseling.
Okay, sure.
That's premarital counseling is not a conveyor belt to a wedding. So you plan everything that you plan, then you say, oh, we have not done the counseling. Let's run on to a counselor. Premarital counseling is about self-discovery. It helps you to discover yourself. Because it is not always about finding the right person. It's being the right person so that you can actually be able to make that.
Be the right person.
Be the right person. Okay. And of course, premarital counseling will help you to understand how to be the right person. So that when your partner come along, they can be able to also be the right person.
There you go.
And make a right marriage.
So two right people recognize each other and make a right marriage.
Very true.
That's powerful.
But of course, it is of essence to be intentional about communication. Because where the rain hits us hard is when communication find a deficit in our marriage. Communication is the oil that be able to make the marriage runs over.
That's true.
Communicate and communicate and communicate. There should not be a time that you are not communicating.
That's true.
Because when you're not communicating, you're giving other agents an opportunity to run your mind into a quagmire.
Exactly. You're assuming here, this other one is assuming that the worst can happen.
The worst can
communicate.
happen. Yes.
So as we finish, best piece of advice you can give for successful marriage? And how best can you appreciate each other? I'd like to finish on a great note.
Know his needs and her needs.
Got it.
So that you can be able to serve each other in a better way.
Fantastic. Simple as that.
Yes.
Know his needs and know her needs.
Yes.
And serve each other.
Marriage is not a man's idea. Marriage is a God's idea.
Amen.
When God originates marriage, He, number one, originates marriage so that it can reflect His image. So if we were to put ourselves on a mirror and look at God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and the synchronize and the unity, Can our marriage measure out of that? But also secondly, marriage is a place of mutual completement. We are supposed to complete one another in marriage. In that, marriage is not a place of showmanship. You don't come to prove who you are in marriage. But as a marriage is a place to synchronize one another. And thirdly, marriage is the only institution that children need to come on board. It's the place that we need to to mirror God's image, mutually complete one another, and multiply godly legacy. So the legacy of God is multiplied in the marriage. How we parent our children, how we manage our home, and of course how we reflect ourselves to the society need to be a reflection of who God is.
That's powerful. Thank you for the almost free marriage counseling you've given us today. Asante sana, Pastor Fred. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us. To another 13. Yes. Or as God wills.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. For today, I hope you've gotten something. I know I have. Thank you for making time for us. Special thanks to Radisson Blue in Arboretum for hosting us. Until next week, stay kind, stay safe, stay positive, and take care, and God bless. Goodbye.